This dog doesn't kill his owners, he becomes them. I haven't slept since I brought him home, and I don't think I'm going to. I can't. He's in the corner of my living room, watching me type this. Just watching. It started in the hallway. Our building's hallway always smells like damp concrete and whatever garbage someone was too lazy to take down to the chute. I was coming home from work, juggling groceries, when I saw him. Just sitting there outside 3B, a scrawny little mutt with ribs like a washboard and the kind of watery brown eyes that looked like they'd seen the end of the world twice. Then the door to 3B creaked open, and Theodora shuffled out. She was 80, maybe older, with a body bent into a permanent question mark and a voice like dry leaves skittering across pavement. "Oh, there you are, you little devil," she rasped, fumbling with a leash. "Don't you go wandering off? Is he yours?" I asked, shifting the weight of my grocery bags. "Found him," she said, a little proud. Mr. Caustic, the super, found him tied to a bench down the street, tag and all. Decided an old woman could use the company. She finally clipped the leash on. As she tugged him back toward her door, I couldn't help myself. "What's his name?" Theodora gave me a slow, deliberate smile, showing gums and a few yellowed teeth. "Says Satan, right on the tag." I must have looked stunned, because she let out a dry little cackle. "Don't look at me like that. It's what they called him. Who am I to argue with fate?" She pulled him inside, but before the door clicked shut, the dog turned his head. He looked right at me. Not like a dog looks at you, not with curiosity or hoping for a treat. It was a heavy, knowing stare, an appraisal. And I swear to God, I saw him favor his left leg, the exact same way Theodora did when her hip was acting up. I shook my head, told myself I was just tired. I saw them a few more times after that. The dog never barked, never wagged his tail. He just walked beside her, mimicking her slow, painful limp. His eyes locked on anyone who passed by. They were too human, too full of a kind of quiet, screaming despair. It was unsettling as hell. About a week later, I woke up to a noise. It wasn't loud. It was a low, resonant hum, like a power line was running right through my bedroom. It made my teeth ache. I stumbled out of bed, trying to place it, and then I smelled it. Ozone. And something else, something sweet and greasy, like pork belly left on a skillet for too long. The hum was coming from the hall. It was coming from Theodora's apartment. I banged on her door. "Theodora, are you okay?" Only the hum answered, vibrating through the wood. I tried the knob. Locked. I started pounding, yelling her name, my voice cracking. The smell was getting stronger. I sprinted down to the basement apartment and hammered on the superintendent's door. Mr. Caustic took his time. He was a thick, stoic man with a permanently unimpressed expression. He moved like he was wading through molasses. "What?" he grunted, not even fully opening the door. "It's Theodora," I gasped. "Something's wrong. There's a weird noise, a smell." He sighed, a long, tired sound, and grabbed a ring of keys without another word. He didn't rush. He took the stairs one by one, his heavy boots echoing in the stairwell. When we got to her door, the hum was so intense I could feel it in my bones. Caustic just grimaced, selected a key, and unlocked the door. The smell hit us like a physical blow. The apartment was dark, except for one spot. In the far corner, Theodora sat in her floral armchair. She was bolt upright, her hands gripping the armrests, and she was on fire. But it wasn't a normal fire. There was no smoke, no raging orange flames. A column of silent, shimmering, blue-white light enveloped her, consuming her. The chair wasn't even scorched. The wallpaper behind her was untouched. It was just her, being erased from the world in this pillar of cold, humming light. Her eyes were open, and they were staring right at me. And the dog, Satan, was gone. The cops had no fucking clue. They threw around terms like faulty wiring and unexplained electrical phenomenon, but they couldn't explain why the only thing that burned was Theodora. Life in the building got quiet, weirdly quiet. I stopped taking the stairs past her sealed apartment. Then, maybe 2 weeks later, I was heading out to my car and I heard it. The soft click, click, click of a dog's nails on the pavement behind me. I turned and my stomach dropped. It was him. Same sad eyes, same skinny frame. Holding the leash was Casimir, a guy from the second floor, an accountant, I think. Always wore the same gray suit, always nervously adjusting his thick glasses, squinting at the world like it was a spreadsheet he couldn't balance. "Where did you find him?" I asked, my voice tight. "Mr. Caustic," Casimir said, not making eye contact, said his owner passed, found him scared in the boiler room. Seemed ashamed. I looked at the dog. He was staring at Casimir's feet, his nose twitching. You keeping the name?" I asked, nodding toward the worn leather collar. Casimir finally looked at me, squinting. "It's what's on the tag. It's his name. Why would I change it?" He gave a curt, awkward nod and scurried off, the dog trotting beside him. I watched them go, and a chill ran right through me. The dog wasn't limping anymore, but he kept wrinkling his nose and tilting his head, a perfect tiny imitation of Casimir's constant squint. I wish I'd said something else. I wish I'd done something. 4 days later, I was walking home. I was just turning the corner onto our block when I saw Casimir walking toward his car, a bland little Honda. He saw me, gave that same stiff nod. I nodded back. He got in the car. I heard the door shut. He turned the key. There wasn't a big Hollywood explosion. The windows of the car just flashed a brilliant, blinding white. The hum from Theodora's apartment was back, 1,000 times louder, shaking the entire street. The metal of the car started to glow, first a dull orange, then a blistering cherry red. It was melting, sagging in on itself like hot wax. And through the warping windshield, I could see Casimir's silhouette. He wasn't screaming. He was just sitting there, rigid, as the air itself seemed to turn to fire around him. The hum was the only sound in the world. I didn't call the police. I just ran. I ran back to my apartment and locked the door and slid down to the floor, shaking. I fucking knew it was the dog. I didn't see him for a week. I thought maybe he'd burned up in the car with Casimir. I started to hope. Then, last night, I went to take out the trash. And there he was, by the dumpsters. A man I'd seen around was standing with his daughter, a girl maybe 10 years old. She was holding the leash, beaming, stroking the dog's head. "We're calling him Buddy," the girl said to her dad. "Mr. Caustic found him again," the father explained to me with a smile. "Poor thing was all alone. She's always wanted a dog." Something in me snapped. I couldn't let it happen. I walked right up to them, my heart hammering against my ribs. "That's my dog," I said. The words tasted like poison. The father's smile vanished. "What?" "No," the super said. "The super was wrong," I snarled. I hated the person I was in that moment, the fear twisting my face into a mask of rage. "His name is Lucifer." And he got out. "Give him to me now, or I'm calling the cops." The little girl's face crumpled. She started to cry. Big, heaving sobs, hiding behind her father's legs. He looked at me like I was insane. He probably thought I was. But he unclipped the leash from her hand and shoved it at me. "Just take your damn dog, psycho," he muttered, pulling his daughter away. I stood there under the buzzing parking lot lights, the leather leash feeling cold and heavy in my hand. The dog looked up at me, and for the first time he wagged his tail, just once. I brought him up to my apartment. I couldn't leave him outside, I don't know why. He walked right in and settled in a corner, out of the light, just watching me. The way he was squinting was gone. He just looked like a dog. For now. An hour ago, I heard something. A faint humming from down the hall. I don't know what possessed me, but I had to know. I left the dog in my apartment and went to Mr. Costi's place in the basement. The humming was louder there. I put my ear to the door, and it was the same goddamn sound. I tried the knob. Unlocked. I pushed the door open. The room was nearly empty. A mattress on the floor, a hot plate, a small table. But the entire back wall was covered in photographs, dozens of them. Old, faded tenant ID photos, tacked to the wall in neat rows. Under each one, a name was neatly printed. Theodora. Casimir. I found their pictures right away. Next to Casimir's photo, there was an empty space. A single, waiting thumbtack. "Find what you're looking for?" I spun around. Kostik was standing in the doorway, blocking my only exit. His face was unreadable. I heard the noise, I stammered. I was worried. You shouldn't worry about things that aren't your problem, he said, his voice flat. He stepped into the room. He's your problem now. The father called me, very angry. The dog, I said, my voice barely a whisper. What is he? What's with the name? For the first time, Mr. Kostick smiled. It was a horrible, thin thing. A crack in a stone wall. Everyone gets it wrong, he said, almost pityingly. You all think it's the dog's name. He took a step closer and his voice dropped. The tag on the collar. It's not a name, it's a title. It's for the person holding the leash. He shut the door, leaving me in the hallway. That was an hour ago. I'm back in my apartment now. The dog hasn't moved from his corner, he just sits there watching me. But something's changed. I keep cracking my knuckles. I have arthritis in my left hand, and it's been acting up tonight, a dull, throbbing ache. Just like Theodora used to complain about. My vision feels a little blurry too. I keep taking my glasses off to clean them, but it doesn't help. I just looked in the reflection on my dark computer screen. And I swear to God, for a split second, I saw her tired, ancient eyes staring back at me. He knows I'm his. He knows I have the leash now. And when I look into his eyes, I finally understand the look I saw in Theodora's as she burned. It wasn't terror. It wasn't pain. It was recognition. She was looking at her replacement.